Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy like one half Enduro. Um, again, going into that video I was talking about this is another video and talking about the gaming industry. Now, I'd rather use Lady Decade to talk about Dustborn because I don't understand why. Um, like I said, they have this game, and then you had, of course, Concord by PlayStation that did not do. Well, we ain't do great. I spent $200 million for a game that came out that only lasts 2 weeks. That was just a waste of money. But the reason I'm talking about Dustborn is because, again, for those who don't know, I don't like the government that much. I think I've said it on the show.
Well, you're a starch libertarian.
Yes. So my wife will join me on this video, but this one is just the only thing about Dustborn is, and again, hey, here's the thing. It's a game that got made. I got no problem with that. But it's not doing well because it kind of proves the point when people are like, oh, let's turn Samus into transgender. Let's do all this other woke crap. I'm not against you making a game. Now, if you don't win, but if it fails because nobody wants to buy it, that's because the audience ain't there. So I don't like that all these trans and all these other people say, oh, make a game like this, but y'all don't go out and buy the thing yourself. The same thing with movies, the same thing with a lot of stuff. It's not enough for y'all to buy the stuff. Go ahead and make it niche and just be quiet. There's a lot of niche genres in gaming, but it's funny they never buy the thing they say they want. So let me use Lady Decade as an example of this stuff.
The released title is being slammed by many as the most aggressively progressive and radically left video game ever made. This game is set in a dystopian future and pushes a heavy-handed narrative focused on social justice, systemic oppression, and the so-called power of collective action, with a cast of characters that seem more concerned with checking every diversity box than telling a compelling story. Dustborn feels more like a political manifesto than an actual video game. Its relentless focus on pushing an agenda around gender identity, racial inequality, and environmental issues has drawn criticism for being preachy and overly ideological. Rather than gaming experience, Dustborn comes off as a one-sided.
And also, don't hit me. I don't. For anybody who's watched this stuff, like I said, I don't care that you don't like the game because the protagonist is black. No, I've played games where the protagonists were black and I enjoyed it. Just give me a good game. That's all it is. But again, this is not my type of game anyway. You're funny, yes. But I don't care with representation when it comes to my video games. How many times I've played so many games and put myself in that role without them because I have a thing called imagination.
Right.
That's what it is.
I did lecture, more interested in ramming its radical views down players' throats than in entertaining them. But then again, why should you care about a terrible game you probably had no interest in ever playing? Well, here's the crazy part. What makes this situation even more infuriating is that the taxpayer partially funded Dustborn. It's one thing for a private company to produce a poorly selling game that pushes such a blatantly political agenda, but it's another when public funds are used to bankroll it. The fact that taxpayer money was diverted to support a project that many view as an indoctrination tool rather than entertainment is a point of major contention. This has sparked outrage among those who believe that public.
And to be all honesty, that's not surprising to me. Okay,
Well, it angers me.
you're not a gamer, but yeah, okay. But no, I'm just saying, it's not surprising. No, when you go back to the past, there's
A
a
lot of games that have been
no. There might have been games that have been done this. I don't know, and I'm not saying this is a one-off. No, there's a lot of movies and television shows that was that though.
Well, yeah, but I thought more of the games was just all private circuit. So these games.
Nah,
Wow.
Nah.
Funds should be used for more neutral or widely beneficial purposes, not to promote what they see as a narrow and radical ideological viewpoint. The controversy surrounding Dustborn is amplified by the notion that the very people who might disagree with its message were, in part, forced to finance it. So let's discuss this absolute dumpster fire further. I am Lady Decade, and this is why Dustborn is.
So you're listening to a Indian, and two black people.
Yes.
Talk about this.
Right.
Causing outrage. Gaming. It's bloody marvellous, isn't it? I think it's the greatest.
A long time ago, my middle
Continuously makes the hobby a bit tougher. This might be the case, which is why I want to offer you a leg up and help you get games for 90% cheaper than in stores. Choose from thousands at home, but you enjoy the charge for attracting attention.
So I want to make sure.
Oh my
Speaking
God.
of video games, Dustborn, the one we are discussing today, is the poster child for all the wrong reasons. Through its
Here, hold on.
Speaking of video games, Dustborn, the one we are discussing today, is the
Original
poster
game.
child for attracting
Original
attention
songs.
for all the wrong
Yeah.
reasons. Through its Steam description, it lures players in with the promise to embark on a perilous road trip across a divided states of
Are you
America.
serious?
It assures gamers that they will be
Yep.
able to use the power of words to shape relationships with your crew, get out of trouble, and reach
Oh
your
my
final
God.
destination. But once you're in, the
Oh
reality is
my
a far
God.
cry from the
What?
It's just disgust and cringe on a lot of levels.
Okay.
Believe what you want to believe. Yes, you probably can hear a little bit of conservatism in me, but I'm like, the agenda on this game.
And-
It's just so, and
and-
even for people who live that lifestyle, you can't see the cringe in this. Like, this is just like, oh, and
Yeah.
tax funded.
The game's lofty ambition to blend storytelling, social commentary, and innovative gameplay centered around dialogue quickly crumbles under the weight of its own pretentiousness. What was supposed to be a deep, character-driven experience is nothing more than a shallow, plodding mess that would, in most cases, even make the most open-minded gamers cringe at its sheer hubris.
Right.
This one is that ridiculous. In an old interview found on PSU.com, a developer from Red Thread Games, the people behind the title, would proclaim that, as game developers, we wanted to tell a story that felt relevant and thematically timely, with a cast of characters that could more accurately represent our player base and the setting, and to hopefully have some positive impact on the world, in addition to being an entertaining game. Reflecting on this statement, I suppose a 2 out of 4 isn't terrible. It has indeed had a large impact on the world, but it would be tough to argue that this has been positive or entertaining as a finished product. But what it does successfully do is tell a story that is relevant and timely, especially bearing in mind the culture wars currently plaguing the Western world. We can even give them a huge pat on the back for potentially creating a game that accurately represents the player base, considering that according to Steam at the time of writing this video, an entire 9 people are playing this game around the world, with a measly all-time peak player count of 8.
Oh my goodness. There you go. There you go. Again, I'm not against somebody make the game. That's not my problem. My thing is to the bigger publishers like Sony and Xbox. Alright? Make this game, but make other games. Don't make the trash. I know, like I said, Sony, you literally just make Astrobot, which was a simple game. And everybody's eating that game up. I bought the game, and I ain't played it yet, but I played a little bit of it. I'm going to record a little bit of it later on. And not really.
That's what's in the, on
Yeah.
the kitchen counter.
Yes.
I was wondering. I said, this what's new.
Yes. That's way more better than this.
Well, that Chick-fil-A game that I played to get a free nuggets were better than that.
Oh, good grief.
3. They did say they wanted to create a game that accurately catered to their player base, and it seems that they did this very well for the 9 people playing this on Steam and the 3 watching on Twitch. Those are
Wow.
insanely low numbers.
Wow.
To put into perspective how small an audience that is, Cassette Beasts, a small indie game that I have played, currently has 160 people playing it right now with a 2700 peak. Cassette Beasts was basically a game made in a bedroom which is over a year old, unlike Dustborn, which cost close to $2 million to produce, coming out last month. In the same interview, the developer states that the idea behind Dustborn's setting and characters was also influenced by a series of political events that deeply affected us all, beginning in the summer of 2016 and continuing until, well, today.
Oh, sure.
With some sources, including that parkplace.com, attribute to the rise of Donald Trump's political campaign.
course.
No matter what you make
I mean,
of
at
this
this point, I
statement,
was
one
expecting
thing we
the
do
robot
know
to
is that
just
the
wear
game...
MAGA hats. They should have just did that and just.
Jeez, why? Like, why? That's what I said. That's why I like Astrobot. That's why even when I ain't played, I could enjoy Astrobot. Cause it's not, and even games that are political, like Modern Warfare and all the stuff like that. Not the new ones, the old ones, the better ones, in my opinion, because they were better. The better ones, those were like still action packed, going espionage, whatever. This woke crap is really annoying.
It was purposely created to be combative and politically charged. This can be seen through every narrative, design, and mechanical element implemented into the game. Dustborn pretends to be a cutting-edge action-adventure game set in a laughably altered version of America. The plot drags us through the dreary tale of Pax, a stereotypical con artist with the cliched ability to weaponize language,
Oh
who
my
finds herself
goodness.
tasked with carting a so-called mysterious package from one end of the continent to the other. Throughout this tediously long road trip, Pax scrapes together a motley crew that seems to check
So,
all the boxes
just
for
on prayer.
diversity but lacks any...
This, they, them, is her. The power is they have the power to weaponize language.
That's what she said. The power is. I never played the game, so I can't tell you nothing.
substance or originality. Pax, our main character, is a 30-something black woman adorned with tattoos. She's designed to be shrewd and deceptive, manipulating others with her supposed superpower of using words to her advantage. Pax comes across as aggressive, quick to anger.
I don't mean to be political, really don't. That sounds like a person's trying to be president right now.
Like I said, I give this game a cringe level of A plus.
Jeez, nah, S plus plus is the highest you could go. That's what it is, S tier. This sounds like a political person who's trying to become president right now. Good grief. A 50-year-old something woman who used words to weaponize.
I'm speaking.
Yes. Yes, you're too funny, dear.
And paranoid. And although this accurately depicts your typical far-left activist, it doesn't make for a likable protagonist. She is so angry all the time. Pax. More like 10 packs. I mean, they walked into that one, didn't they? Like,
You have
did
the
they
right
not
to say
think of
it
that
because you pieced it
before
down.
giving her that name? Jesus Christ. Despite her awful personality, you might be surprised that Pax has managed to make friends. Sai, her best friend, is described as a whirlwind of emotions and a true rebel spirit, which paints an image of instability rather than strength. And the claim that her vocal powers are formidable in manipulating density and weight would be impressive if she weren't clearly failing to use them on herself. Seems like the only thing she's
what?
managing to manipulate is the number on the
I
scale.
don't even understand.
Huh?
She has a power too with
Voices. Nah, that's what they say. I don't know the game. I'm learning just as much as you are, babe.
So it seems like the common theme with the powers is with speech and voice. The freedom of speech.
I don't know.
That is a threat.
You guessing? Your guess is as good as mine, babe. I'm gonna rewind a little bit just I'm trying to understand it myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do this in the movies too. When we watch movies, I
Did
talk
they
all
not
over.
think of that before giving her that name? Jesus Christ. Despite her awful personality, you might be surprised that Pax has managed to make friends. Sai, her best friend, is described as a whirlwind of
She, her,
emotions and a
31.
true rebel spirit, which paints an image of instability rather than strength. And the claim that her vocal powers are formidable in manipulating density and weight would be impressive if she weren't clearly failing to use them on herself.
I got a question too, and it always bothers me as well too. Even though this is a game thing, guys, and do sorry, I'm just gonna just talk about this because and again, you go if you don't like what we're talking about, just you don't have to watch the video. Thumbs it down. I don't care. But I got a question though. This always puzzles me. Why do people who always say I want to be different does the exact same thing as everybody else who want to be different? That's the weird part. You have to color your hair. You have to have the deceptive ring. You're like, I'm different, but I could tell you out of the crowd you're the same.
Right. Well, you said it. You said it perfectly when you broke down tribalism. It's not really a whole different thing. You just create a different tribe,
Yeah.
you know.
Jeez.
And if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But
I just like how
it
they
doesn't
always.
have to be defined as hate crime or bigotry or racism if other people just don't understand that. You have a space to do what you want to do. That's your prerogative if you're of age.
Yeah, I'm laughing at that because of this situation here. That's what I'm saying. It's too funny. Like again, they always, what you call it, look the same. That's the thing that killed me. I have been turned off so much now by tattoos. It's just I don't care anymore. Every time I see a chick,
And I see them all the
that's what I'm saying.
time.
When I see a woman with a bunch of tattoos, it just looks disgusting to me
Oh
now.
Lord.
I just look at it like,
You sound very sheltered right now.
well, I'm sheltered 'cause it doesn't look good.
Well, that's your
Half of it is when I see
that's your opinion.
yeah, when I see white women wear it, I just know not attracted to them. And when I see black women have it, I'm like, I don't even see the ink. Like, what is you looking? I don't even know what I'm looking at because your skin is dark and the tattoo is dark.
Oh, well, I see the tattoos all the time.
I know with your job you do, but it's just so weird.
Seems like the only thing she's managing to manipulate is the number on the scale and not in the way she'd hope. But all women are tens, right? Building on our cast of so-called outcasts,
Yeah, that's cute.
Noam is portrayed as Pax's on-again, off-again romantic partner.
Of
The
course.
introduction of Noam in the game feels awkward and contrived, particularly in the way their pronouns are prominently splashed across the screen almost instantly. This approach is embarrassing
grief.
because it's yet another superficial way to place diversity at the forefront. Rather than allowing the character's identity to unfold naturally within the storyline, this method comes off as an overzealous box-ticking exercise that reduces a potentially complex character to a mere token.
Yeah, so here's the thing. It's like they gotta force you. I'm this character up front without, and then that takes away from you learning and building a character.
Right.
That's why a lot of these woke stories like Star Wars, acolytes and all that,
Acolyte, yeah.
and all that. That's what destroys you. You don't have you say to the last Star Wars trilogy. You just proclaim it, and then that's it. It don't. Wow, does he have a third dimension?
They
Does
have
he
to magnify it.
even that, or oh, he's gonna turn into a bad guy, or that is he walking on the good or the light? You don't know, but if you just point out up front, it's just like when you see a Ray, just Ray, and then she could do all the stuff that took Anakin Skywalker, who was the top of the heat, whatever, with yoga and everything, because he got whatever, took years to master. She could do it in just like that. It's just like I already don't like you already. Because you don't have no character build. It's just like I am woman, hear me roar, okay, and then that's it. That's all.
Yeah.
Focusing on pronouns this way reduces a key aspect of someone's identity to a flashy, gimmicky introduction,
Yes.
thereby ridiculing the very notion it aims to respect.
Correct.
And all
Although,
these people
to be
in
fair,
there-
looking at many
it's
Twitter
funny how
bio,
they put them all in their 30s when ideally this game, if anybody's watching it, are teens and
No.
20 something
No. The average gamer is around 30 years old.
that will watch this.
No, you're correct. You're correct. Well, that part. Okay. I get what you're saying. To play this kind of game, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
it's definitely what they want. Most hilarious of all, though, out of our main human protagonists, we have Theo, a middle-aged, likely straight male. Now, at first glance, you might feel that the inclusion of such a character isn't very progressive at all, until you realise he's the only character in the game who has no vocal powers, and instead only uses his attentive listening skills to his advantage. Unlike the others, he doesn't have
Wait.
We can go so deep into this
Oh my goodness. Are you
because
serious?
there is really no fairness and balance or unbiased. This game is
There's
not
no-
trying to be
you know what I say about-
inclusive.
yes,
Exactly. They're trying to illustrate their opinions and their opinions only. They don't
my.
want they don't want balance and rationality.
Well, and again, and they paid for it. They made the game. I don't have nothing against this. Here's the thing. Again, I say, I have nothing against the game. I'm laughing because I see why 9 people play the game. That's all it is. Make the game.
Benign.
Make the game. Yes, dear. But make the game. Nothing. Try something. I have no problem with that. But don't see, and that's why I don't like this. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about this game, and maybe Decade will bring this up because this is this type of stuff. But here's the thing that puzzles me on this. This is why they like to use other people's stuff to push their crap in there. Because if they do it outright by itself, nobody's gonna buy it.
Right.
They gotta say, "Oh, let's take Star Wars with all the men and all the stuff and put it in there and try to change it."
It's a big platform.
Yeah. That's what I don't like. That's why I say when I forgot that woman and well, they ain't a woman, Brianna Wu. Well, he's a dude anyway, and said, "But make Samus trans." I'm like, why? And also, how can you make Samus trans? Other than just like you do in this game right here, by blatantly saying it out all the time, because it's that you can't. We are not watching Samus's. She's in a suit. She's not. I'm not watching her junk. Her junk ain't got nothing to do with the game.
Right.
So
Right.
why you would try to say she's trans?
Right.
It's just
doesn't
stupid.
Add anything to
It doesn't.
the
Unless you're gonna have to change the story, which she's a majority of the games, as you know, is a silent protagonist.
Right.
You gotta literally have to point out,
right.
I'm trans, I'm trans,
Right.
I'm trans,
Which
I'm him or
matches
she.
up the
Experience.
original plot and experience.
Yeah.
Bridgerton.
Yeah, my wife
I
watching.
digress.
I got it. My wife.
digress.
Yes, dear. But I'm just saying that nonsense is just that don't make no sense. This is why this whole him, they, their, all that stuff is just idiocracy on a high level. And as I said before, and I say it again, nobody speaks in the third person like that. Okay.
And I want to keep reiterating that because we're getting off subject, but because it's just a bad game.
Yeah. No, but it's also a bad logic because again, if my wife is here beside me, I'm gonna basically say dear or her name or stuff like that.
Right.
I won't say, hey, she, hey, he, like, that's not how we talk. If she's not around me and I'm talking about her, then I say, yeah, my wife, and my wife has a cold, and she came, she got it from the church and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'll say she then, but she's not around here. That's how that word is that's how pronouns are used. Jeez.
Right.
opportunity to scream about what he wants in the game. Insanely, none of this game has been made as a parody, as much as the characters sound like they are from a South Park episode. Revisiting the thoroughly unpleasant Pax, her expertise lies in manipulating individuals, often pushing them to the brink of hysteria or other detrimental outcomes. Her toxic repertoire includes
Now, even though I'm beside a black woman, I laugh. And these are white people who made this game. I laugh at that stereotype because sometimes, sometimes they do that. Oh my goodness!
What? I blanked out for a second.
Her power.
powers and instead only uses his attentive listening skills to his advantage. Unlike the others, he doesn't have the opportunity to scream about what he wants in the game. Insanely, none of this game has been made as a parody, as much as the characters sound like they are from a South Park episode. Revisiting the thoroughly unpleasant Pax, her expertise lies in manipulating individuals, often pushing them to the brink of hysteria or other detrimental outcomes. Her toxic repertoire.
No, you don't do that, and that's why I said that.
This whole inclusive game sounds a little
Racist.
yeah.
Yes. Again, it's stereotypes, and I get you. It's white people who made these games. That's what I'm telling you.
You left out the L word. Liberals.
Well, leftists. You could be liberal. It's leftists I don't like. They're stupid. That's why Prager does the same thing. He differentiate that.
Includes an ability known as normalize, which against their will warps people's perceptions, forcing others to think certain behaviors or feelings are normal. Additionally, she can sow discord, a divisive power that incites animosity and conflict among individuals, fostering disputes and even physical altercations. True to her stereotypical nature, she also possesses the power to cancel those who dissent or disagree with her, effectively ostracizing them from their social circles and allies.
I am done. Did they vote?
You've been cancelled. Building on her perceived powers, in the game's words, not mine, Pax is a bully. The game explicitly states that she has learned to bully people to coerce them into doing things they may not want to do, or at least make them feel terrible about themselves.
Which basically most leftists does.
Right.
That's the funny part about that.
Has behaving in this manner ever been considered a good thing, let alone be featured as the main attribute of a hero in a video game? This mischaracterization not only warps the concept of heroism, but also troublingly glorifies toxic and destructive behavior.
Exactly.
You are racist. This game and its characters are incredibly difficult to like, so speaking of characters who are hard to like, let's see what the game journalists thought of this. Games Radar highlights the premise of the game that explores freeing a group from oppression, from the dangers of a fascist, broken America, and despite the game's low quality, comments that, combined with its oddly sustained length, the sheer amount of topics and issues it wants to address, and its growing cast of colourful LGBTQ+ characters, it almost lives up to its promise as an epic political road trip saga about people with superpowers. However, despite seemingly showing support for the game's political messaging, even they add, I can't fault it for having ambition and a lot to say, but Dustborn loses power when it feels the need to look straight at the camera and make sure you understood it, hammering home points over and over again. They would also add that Dustborn is unabashedly queer. Dustborn's execution could be cleaner, and it could avoid undermining itself just to get its point across. But it's nice to play a game with something to say, even if it struggles to do it. Forbes would declare the game among the most unrepentantly liberal and left-leaning games out there, but add, even if you fall within its clear target audience, Dustborn's jarring start, odd mechanics, and weird characters raise some strong early opinions, and it has a few missteps along the way. You might immediately want to take it out on the characters being unlikable in different ways, though that's kind of the point, as they have their imperfections, but it occasionally feels like Dustborn doesn't fully trust your intelligence. It rightly wears its heart on its sleeve, but still has a habit of mishandling strong allegories by spelling them out for you, to the point you can feel a little patronised, given its obvious audience is far from ideal. Despite admitting somewhat that this game often undermines players' intelligence, Forbes would recommend this unpopular game anyway, concluding, "Those who refuse to play it on principle don't know what they're missing. Dustborn might need patience
Trust me, we
and
know what
an
we're
open
missing.
mind, but if you don't have either, what's the point in trying something new?" Amusingly, despite this game being incredibly flawed and politically one-sided, IGN would almost comically comment that, "To make Dustborn worthwhile, you need to embrace the whole
Really?
package."
Is that it?
And I'm assuming they are not talking about size. So, yeah, rather interestingly, this game is so in your face regarding its standing politically that, to some degree, it's even taking game journalists aback who, for some reason, are nearly always incredibly left-leaning.
Yep.
They, on the whole, seem to be recommending that people play the game despite admitting that it is often, at points, very intelligence-insulting. As one would likely expect, the mass general public hasn't been quite as forgiving towards the game as the likes of IGN, with many showing incredible anger and frustration that allegedly most of the funding that was gathered to produce this game was directly from taxpayers. That's right, you might have paid for this game without even buying it. Outspoken ex-user Grums would highlight information proclaiming that Dustborn used far more government money than has been previously reported. He alleges the Norwegian Film Institute funded the game for 14 million kroner, or nearly 1.4 million USD. This is in addition to the 150,000 euros from the Creative EU Grants Programme. He adds that, in his opinion, Dustborn is basically an Antifa training game. You bash the fash across the divided states of America by using vocal powers to call people racist. He then proceeds to show us screenshots, which is verification of the
vibes. Even outside of the whole, because because it's like the bullying and the rage and just the overall, rejection of any type of, law enforcement, all that stuff you see in there. That's Antifa.
Here's the dumb part about this. I'm running a little bit, but here's the dumb part about this though. Seeing what the gameplay looked like, whatever. If they just took out that take out the woke stuff, and just say, hey, say they had to deliver a package kind of like a Last of Us kind of situation, get across the country, but this is their version of Last of Us, whatever. You're fighting against robots, whatever. The game wouldn't work. But doing that is just,
far more government money than has been previously reported. He alleges the Norwegian Film Institute funded the game Creative EU Grants Programme, hitting vocal powers to call people racist. He then proceeds to show us screenshots, which is verification of the 150,000 EU grant, as well as those given by the Norwegian Film Institute, a governmental organisation in Norway responsible for supporting and promoting Norwegian film and media production, who, like the EU, are funded by European taxpayers. In a series of further tweets, Grums states that Red Thread Games looks to be funding multiple games by using government grants, even though statistics show that their games do not make money. What a farce. He adds that the company seems to grift off of EU taxpayers, which are awarded in part on ESG criteria.
Yep.
He also shows us another screenshot demonstrating that the Norwegian Film Institute focuses on productions where the percentage of women in key roles is a factor.
Of course.
He believes the funding may have been pursued through their publisher, Quantic Dream, via their Spotlight Report program. Grums believes all of this funding is the reason that Red Thread Games is able to continue to produce titles, even though it doesn't seem the games can make enough money to...
Like I said, looking at the gameplay right here, it could have just been a hack and slash, simple, I'm trying to get there. That right there, look at what I'm watching right now, doesn't bother me. But then when you just push the other crap, it makes the game intolerable.
Pay for their production. He concludes that it's concerning that Dustborn has been crafted as a political agitprop tool backed by taxpayers who do not want this kind of disruption to their cultures or society. But it is clear the Red Thread Games does not care or depend on gamers' sales for their continued existence or ability to produce political propaganda games.
Yep.
With the game's politically charged nature, incredibly low player numbers, and the fact that it seems that it may have been funded by the taxpayer rather than making a profit through being sold to a huge audience, it quickly becomes clear why a backlash against the game's existence is mounting up, and it goes way beyond the title's aggressively loaded messaging itself. Stuttering Craig from the YouTube show Side Scrollers would also add to the conversation on X, adding that everyone might be laughing at Norway and the EU for funding Dustborn, but a quick search shows that the US also provided $275,000 of funding for a new counter-disinformation game, highlighting the notice of funding opportunity. This, of course, also annoyed people, with it becoming blatantly apparent that gamers don't want their governments wasting their taxes on pushing political agendas through gaming.
Exactly.
It's an abhorrent way to allocate financial resources, actually. During the pushback against the existence of Dustborn, as is usual when these sorts of stories are unraveling, Kotaku.com would side against the backlash to this game, with one journalist, Kenneth Shepard, commenting, "It's always, stop making my games woke and make your own, until someone actually does it. Then these sorts of people find a new reason to harass developers who made a game they weren't the target audience for."
Okay, and like I said before, make your own. That's correct. And I don't have nothing against the game being made. I would say, as a person who is libertarian, I don't like my taxpayer money going to that. I don't care if taxpayer money going to go to Mario. I don't care. It should not go to that. Go towards helping and doing what it's supposed to do.
Right.
That point, those are the 2 points that this person is missing here. Make the game. Don't have no problem with that. I was going to buy it anyway. But don't use my tax money to fund the game.
Exactly. Yep.
The goalpost moves once again.
Yep.
All right, Kenneth. So it has nothing to do with citizens having their taxes stolen to fund politically loaded art projects. They want nothing to do.
Thank you.
To fund politically loaded art projects they want nothing to do with. According to Google user ratings, only 4% of people like this video game, with it being
4%.
heavily criticised for both its political messaging and how it allegedly was funded. Red Thread Games, the developers behind Dustborn, would ultimately opt to respond directly to the criticism, including in their statement that "We expected Dustborn to spark conversation and debate, and look forward to engaging with our players in a positive and constructive fashion. Unfortunately, that conversation has been drowned out by a tidal wave of hate and abuse."
Of course.
Despite claims that they were looking forward to engaging with players and sparking conversation and debate, Red Thread Games would then cowardly lock replies on the tweet, removing gamers from the opportunity to engage, converse, and debate. How very progressive. Aside from the fact that people are upset with the fact that the taxpayer paid for this politically motivated game without an audience, while the narrative of Dustborn itself isn't very good, the narrative around the narrative of Dustborn is poetic. Dustborn tells a tale of Pax, an aggressive and manipulative woman who, as a central part of her toxic behaviour, bullies those she disagrees with, using coercion to make them feel terrible about themselves.
Yep.
As mentioned earlier in the video, I believe this sort of behaviour is not a good thing at all, and was baffled that the developers chose to feature such attributes in their heroine. This raises an important question. If, according to the developers, this is considered heroic behaviour, then by their logic, wouldn't those who bully others over disagreements about the existence of this game also be considered heroes? Again,
Leftists they don't think like that. That's the problem with it.
I'm just like, what is the logic behind all of this?
That's why I said they have no logic. It makes no sense.
I do not support bullying those I disagree with, but it seems a certain video game does. That's not to
And
mention
leftists
the
too.
use of the power of words, the exact power the game's detractors are using right now. Dustborn's portrayal of its protagonist and the underlying messages it conveys have sparked considerable debate, and for good reason. The game seems to inadvertently champion behaviours that are generally deemed negative, which raises legitimate concerns about the values being promoted, particularly when the agenda is being pushed using taxpayer money. Speaking of money, I, for one, prefer when I get to spend it myself rather than having to give it to the taxman.
Thank
I
you.
can get you a huge discount on thousands of games.
Thank you, Lady Decade. And that's the same thing too. We end it there. But that's what I'm with her, and that's what it is. I'd rather spend my own money than give it to the government. I don't
Exactly.
care. I spend my money more better than somebody else.
Right.
Just
Especially when you see this is what they choose to spend it on. Some garbage.
garbage upon garbage. So again, I'm sorry. So yeah, I apologize for my wife. I'm just here chilling with my wife because she's sick. So I apologize for all the noise and stuff. But anyway, but I just want her to just be a part of this because we just here chilling, and also
Yes, we're getting ready to play a game of Dustborn.
yeah, you go ahead and play that. I ain't gonna play that game. I'll play Astro Boy. That's what I'll play. But it is just weird to me to see how all this comes together in the weirdest way. Okay, and I just again, I'm not against the game being made. That's not my problem. My taxpayer part, yes. And again, if looking at the gameplay, that could have been a good game if they just took out the woe crap. So they had a game concept, the art style I have no
Right.
problem with. It looks good. So if I'm the positive, the gameplay looks like it's a hack and beat 'em up. I ain't got a problem with that. It looks like the art style looks good. That's cool. But to do that, it's so stupid. And again, giving negative attributes to the hero of the game. Oh, that's a great thing, and that's what I said. That's what leftists always does. So
Yep.
it,
It's trash.
it is. So with that said, yeah, gonna hit y'all next time. Remember, there's no perfect games out there. What's perfect to you is not perfect to me. What's perfect to me is not perfect to you. Simply enjoy your games on all consoles, including PC. Peace out.